While the Dark Voyager is preparing to strike first, things on the Golden Coast are getting weirder by the day. It's becoming obvious the Voyager isn't the true threat after all. We have no idea what's coming next, and that's the most dangerous part. And why could this season's storyline turn out to be one of the most important in all of Fortnite's history? I'm pretty sure anyone who just jumped back into Fortnite this season has no clue what's going on. The Seven, the movie set, the simulation, yeah, I get it, it's a lot. For the past few years, so many organizations have popped up in Fortnite. You wouldn't have enough hands to count them all. Some of them played a huge role in the game's history, while others are still driving the storyline forward. So, it's time to figure out what happened to some of the most powerful groups on the island, where the Imagined Order disappeared to, where the Seven are now, and why the last reality will definitely make their presence known again. I think a lot of rookies who first logged into Fortnite in Chapter 7 or 6 haven't even heard of the Imagined Order, but these guys were terrorizing loopers for several years. The Order actually became the very first organization we got to know. Back then, we didn't know about all the members of the Seven, and the mysterious corporation that ruled the entire island was called the Government. As we later found out, the secret government is the Imagined Order. Or to be more precise, an organization controlled by the order that was needed, so the big shots wouldn't get their hands dirty. Basically, it was a kind of link between the loopers and the Order itself. But after the events of Chapter 3, Season 2, when we managed to thwart Gino's plans to reboot the loop, these guys just vanished. But where? They probably ran off to stock up on bundles and V-Bucks using my creator code, of course. Anyway, if you look at the Zero War comic, which was written in collaboration with Marvel, some details fall into place. After the island flip, which was necessary to defeat the Cube Queen, the Imagined Order ended up on the flip side. To not lose such a great chance to deal with the loopers once and for all, Sloane threw all her forces into seizing the island, and she actually succeeded in the initial stages. However, over time, we were still able to reclaim key locations, cornering the Order at their base. But Gino had his own ace up his sleeve, the Collider, which they almost launched, but it didn't work out. Together with the Paradigm and her mecha, we destroyed 99% of the Imagined Order combat power. The situation with Gino is even more interesting, and if you haven't read the comic, you might think he never even appeared in the Fortnite story. As it turned out, he was also at the Collider during the event, where his daughters, the Mirage and the Order, fought him. While the Order managed to survive the fight, her sister and their dad were literally atomized by the 0 Point's epicenter. The story of the Imagined Order basically ends in the Zero War arc. This is hinted at by the words of the Foundation, who said that their worst enemy was gone forever, and now the island could live peacefully. If only the Seven knew what a mess they would stir up later, they would have thought twice about freeing the 0 Point. In short, to put it in super simple terms, for several thousand years, the Imagined Order kept the 0 Point under their control to manage the loop and protect it from any problems. These guys literally decided what loot loopers would get and how the storm would move in the next match. But with the defeat of the Order, the Seven freed the 0 Point, essentially destroying the loop, and that's when all hell broke loose. So, Chapter 3, Season 2 was the last time we directly encountered the Order. Although, since then, mentions of these guys have occasionally surfaced in the Zero War comic. If you read it to the end, you can find out that Gino isn't dead at all, but is planning his return to the island, and he's apparently planning it very, very meticulously, since 2 whole years have passed since the promised continuation of his story. Since we've already touched upon the Seven, it's time to talk about the most mysterious crew in Fortnite history. The story of the Seven remains the most confusing right now, as it's impossible to say exactly what happened to the legendary squad that saved the island. The Seven were actually the ones who initiated this storyline. Who would have thought that launching a visitor's rocket in would lead to us now fighting a dark presence who crawled out of Spirit Realm after beating up Godzilla and Kong? But that's beside the point, because throughout 3 whole chapters, the identities of all 7 members were gradually revealed to us. I still remember how we speculated about who would be next in this group, and how they would be introduced into the story. It was such a cliffhanger that when the Foundation appeared during the 0 Point crisis, the whole community was literally on edge. But how did it happen that the Seven disappeared all at once? And they disappeared so completely that we haven't heard from them for 2 years now. Yep, 2 years have passed. I suggest we go through each member of the legendary team to figure out who has a chance to return and who has probably left us forever. I think I should start with the Visitor, whom we've known the longest. The community still speculates that Donald Mustard himself is hiding behind the mask of that spacesuit. The Visitor was absorbed by the Chrome and most likely ended up imprisoned in the last reality, but then returned to Fortnite OG in the summer of 2025. A similar fate befell the Scientist and the Origin, who were unlucky enough to be in the Chrome study lab. In just a couple of seconds, they literally turned into a shiny goo, and after that, their fate remained unknown. It's entirely possible that the last reality managed to turn them into their puppets, but there's no confirmation of that either. The situation with the Foundation is even more interesting. We literally don't know what happened to him or where he went after he and Jonesy managed to defeat Gino and then return to the island. Any mention of the Foundation has literally vanished from the storyline. So it's very difficult to talk about his fate right now, but I would venture to guess that he was also absorbed by the Chrome at some point and is now chilling out somewhere on the last reality's flying saucer. The Paradigm is probably the most tragic of all the 7. Not only did she have to save the island from the Chrome invasion alone, but she also sacrificed her life for the Loopers. Her last words indicated that she initiated some kind of merge to rebuild the island. Most likely, the merge is a connection of realities, because as we remember, the Chapter 4 map literally looked like a patchwork quilt of different pieces, and there's a huge probability that the Paradigm actually died after the final event. The two sisters, the Imagined and the Order and Mirage, share a similar fate. Mirage was literally atomized, scattered across 1,000,000 dimensions. In that regard, the Order was the luckiest of them all. After losing her sister during the Zero War, she realized she no longer wanted to be a part of the 7 and left the team. In fact, Order is already appeared on Chapter 7 Island, but already disappeared. So, what do we have in the end? 4 people are imprisoned by the last reality, 2 are dead, and 1 is missing. Not the most pleasant situation, but I personally hold on to the hope that over all this time, the 7 have become an integral part of Fortnite, without which the story will never be the same. Therefore, I still believe that this legendary squad has every chance for an epic comeback in the future. If we've been talking about the literal foundation of Fortnite, the Imagined Order, and the 7, it's time to move on to the newcomers. Chapter 6 kicked off when a 0-point shard crashed into reality 783. It's called Oninoshima, which roughly translates to Island of Demons. Thousands of years ago, this place was home to them, but local clans banished the demons to the spirit realm and sealed the gates. Everything stayed quiet until that shard hit and shattered the seal. Suddenly, demonic energy started leaking out again. That's when 2 big threats showed up, the mysterious Shogun and the possessed Night Rose. The darkness from the spirit realm wasted no time snatching up the fallen shard, because it holds insane power. Trying to stop the nightmare before it spread, the Demon Hunter family, Jade, Kendo, and Dago, teamed up with Jonesy and Hope, who had arrived searching for the shard. Dago, the cocky older brother, decided to fight the Shogun alone, and actually won. Knowing the shard wouldn't be easy to protect, Hope and Midas, who somehow also ended up on Oninoshima, launched a secret vault project. This vault was supposed to be the last line of defense against the darkness and the spirit realm. But then, everything went wrong. Drunk on his victory over the Shogun, Daigo fell under the mask's influence, became possessed, and joined the side of darkness. He drained the island's life force to open a gate for the dark presence itself. Loopers managed to stop him temporarily thanks to the Supernova Hero program, which awakened after the reality pulse. But even though we won that fight, the damage was already done. The dark presence's blood seeped into the ground, awakening a swarm of demonic bugs. And in this fight, our biggest ace is an organization called OXR, led by the mysterious Onyx Winter. Thanks to OXR, Jones and Hope discovered something huge. The bugs can slip into the spirit realm through special access points, bypassing the main gates entirely. Now the island's rescue team is figuring out how to use that same trick to infiltrate the spirit realm and reclaim the 0-point shard before the darkness can weaponize it. But the dark presence isn't just sitting back. Hope can sense something terrifying brewing inside the spirit realm. It's starting to feel like Darkness is planning a massive strike on Oninoshima. Hope and Jones pulled up to another anomaly to check it out.
Alright, time to seal the breach and trap Mr. Demon in the spirit realm.
Your upgrades to the rift device better work.
Through that rift, we got another peek at the Dark Presence. Jones tried to use his rift device to seal the breach between worlds. Spoiler alert, it was an L. The Dark Presence was too powerful, broke through, and dragged us all into the spirit realm. Next thing you know, Hope and Jones are chilling on Kang and Kodos' UFO, and things got absolutely bonkers. We tried to pull the 0-point shard out of the Dark Presence, but it was straight up built different, yanking us into the interdimensional void. We still managed to snatch a piece of the shard though. Caught in a loop, Hope was fighting off the aliens to get back to Oninoshima. But the aliens got the upper hand, and we ended up yeeted right into Springfield. The 0-point shard piece landed right in Homer's hands. As I said before, that thing is basically a magic wand for him. He can reshape objects and even grow his hair back. So yeah, escaping the Simpsons reality is 100% up to Homer and his remote. We watched as Homer used the full power of the shard to transform Springfield into the city of his dreams. Meanwhile, Hope and Jones were trying to retrieve the 0-point shard to activate the rift device and return to the island. Eventually, they succeeded. After activating the device, we returned to Oninoshima, but it looked completely different.
This doesn't look like the island.
And that looks like just a whole lot of trouble. If he wants a fight, he's got one. Time to take back our island. Let's go!
A shard of the epicenter yeeted us and itself into a new island known as the Golden Coast. The island and this whole reality are packed from head to toe with parties, shows, and movie premieres. While every looper gets to feel like a real Hollywood star, there is a creepy floating sphere hanging over the island, and you cannot even imagine what we are about to face. With our arrival on the Golden Coast, it's becoming obvious that the Dark Presence is history, so that means the seat for the main villain is vacant. Or is it? The start of Chapter 7 drops a bombshell about the nature of the island itself. If you were watching closely, the story trailer after the event showed runes that translate to reveal we were all unwittingly in a training program or simulation for exactly 8 years, 9 weeks, and 3 days. Yeah, you heard that right. Every match we sweated, every jump from the battle bus, every event, every villain, every little love story, all of it was fake. The only thing we know for sure is not fake is my creator code, which is very real. And I am seriously thankful to everyone who uses it in the shop. Back to the secret message. That 8-year period lines up perfectly with how long Fortnite Battle Royale has existed. That really makes you think, did anything in the Fortnite story actually happen, or was it all just one giant movie set? All of this feels painfully familiar and screams Matrix. People as lab rats, their minds messed with in a giant system they never agreed to. So the obvious question is, are we just puppets in someone else's massive horror experiment that maybe is not even over yet? Who knows what is really going on inside Charlie Wen's head? Give me your attention, baby. And the weird stuff does not stop there. The scariest part is that the same message includes a formula, and if you translate it from math into normal language, you get 160 billion years. While 8 years passed in our world, inside the game we lived through billions of years of evolution and endless loops. Every chapter, every season, every island reset, all of it were iterations of the simulation. We were not just jumping from the battle bus and running around for loot. We were part of a giant experiment where time moves millions of times faster than outside. And the whole time, we were subjects being watched by scientists. And those scientists are not human. At the same time, a member of the Seven show up on the island again. In particular, the Order. The way she arrives is the same as the Foundation and the Visitor. She crashes down inside a meteor, only with less blockbuster drama. Unlike her teammates, she only leaves an audio log saying she showed up with her own plan after hijacking Jones's broadcast during 0 hour.
Mission log. I was scanning the aftermath of the battle for Reality 783 when I picked up a distress signal sent by Agent Jones. It's been a while. He and I have a lot to catch up on. Whatever's going on, odds are the 0 point is involved. Initial scans show this place has an intense concentration of 0 point energies. I'll need more info to make a complete assessment.
But do not get too hyped. She barely manages to show up on the island, and she is already gone. Sorry folks, that is just week 1 of the chapter, and the plot is already moving at breakneck speed. I bet every looper has already felt that creepy vibe that someone is watching you. You are not alone out there. Right from the start of the season, something appeared in the sky that looks like the Cube Cradle. It changes position every day, and it is piloted by no other than Dark Voyager, who is hiding the golden cube inside, the command center of cube energy. The proof that this is a messenger of the last reality is on the map as the location classified Canyon, basically Fortnite's version of Area 51. It is a real secret facility built in the shape of a triangle, the symbol of the last reality crest. Down in its bunker, they are hiding UFO from the second invasion and files on key characters, including Dr. Sloan. But Dark Voyager is by far not the only one spying on you. Epic decided to fully crank up the lore by bringing up a being known as the Nothing. In secret bunkers, you can find warning signs like, "It is watching," and "There is nothing to see here," which are direct callbacks to this creepy entity. If the 0 point is pure creation, then the Nothing is the complete opposite, absolute destruction and emptiness. These little details confirm that Fortnite's ancient enemies did not go anywhere. They are still watching the loopers from the shadows. Good news, we are not doomed yet. After the final event, we still managed to recover a 0 point shard. It is still one of the core elements of the universe, now confirmed to be scattered across time and space. One of its shards is in Inner Loop Labs. The energy from that shard powers a giant underground teleportation system shaped like a ring. Kind of like a Fortnite-style Large Hadron Collider. In real life, people were freaking out that those experiments might spawn black holes. So in-game, using unstable 0 point energy for this kind of stuff sounds like a straight road to disaster. Speaking of the last disaster, after the battle for Oninoshima during 0 hour, the island is back to normal and living a peaceful life again. If you were wondering where Daigo and Kendo are, well, the siblings decided to stay on Oninoshima to protect it from any kind of threat and to carry on their family's legacy. However, Hope still thinks about Kendo, and maybe, just maybe, Kendo will visit her in the future. But for now, we can only say farewell to those siblings. They were a fun part of the Oninoshima story. Either way, the story is more alive than ever. If you were still on the fence, now is the perfect time to dive into it.
If you can hear this, make your way to the front lines.
point shard.
This feels more like home.